Good morning, dear students. Welcome to my third lesson of today of the association program. Today, we are going to see another lesson which is very important in the English grammar that would help you in your learning. So, before I start, I would like to thank all the people that interact with me through the my Facebook page or the channel, the YouTube channel, and I hope that it makes difference and it has a good message to you all. And we start the lesson. So the first thing that we are going to see today is the past simple. As you still remember, or if you still remember, last time we have seen the present simple, and then we move to the WH questions. They are very important for the comprehension of the questions that you might find in written comprehension tasks. So today we will see the past simple and we will see how to form the past simple and how to use it and all the exceptions that we have in this lesson. And I hope that my lesson today is good for you all. And we start now. So first of all, I start by writing the title. So the past simple. Right. So the past simple, or of course we can say the simple past in English. Both of them are possible here. So we say the past simple or the simple past. Okay. Now, when we talk about the simple past, it is a tense like all the English tenses, as you know, like all the English tenses. The first step that we are going to deal with is the form, of course, the form of the simple past. We will see how to form the simple past in English, how to form the simple past in English, and we start by the two types that we have in the simple past. Okay, so in English, when we talk about a simple past, we talk about two categories, two types, two forms. Okay, the first one is regular. The first one is regular. Okay, and the second one is irregular. Irregular. Okay, the simple past is divided into two categories, the regular form and the irregular form. Of course, when we talk about regular form, why do we say regular form? Because we have a rule to follow. So if we take a verb, if we take a verb, a regular verb, we can form we can form the simple past of this following a rule. But when we talk about the irregular verb, we don't have we don't have a rule. We don't have a rule. So what do we have exactly? We have a list to remember by practice or by heart uh, if you have exams or something like that. So I repeat. So today we will see the past simple and we will see how to use the past simple in English and why do we have the past simple in English as a tense. As I said, we have the form of the past simple. We have two types. We have regular form and we have irregular form. Of course, from the word regular, we can see that it is regular and it has a rule. But when we talk about irregular, it doesn't have a rule. That's why we have exceptions. As I told you, we have a list to remember. So we have the first one is regular and the second one is irregular. Now we shall start first by the first category, which is regular. Right. So I take another slide here. I take another slide and I write regular regular verbs. Regular verbs. How to form regular verbs in English. So that's the first one. How to form regular verbs in English. When we talk about the simple past, we have regular and we have irregular. The first one is regular and the second one is irregular. So in this lesson today, we will see, or now we start with regular verbs. With regular verbs. So we take, for example, a verb like live, a verb like live. Okay, a verb like to live. I live in Morocco. This is an English verb. And we take another verb, like, for example, to listen. To listen. I listen to music. And I take another verb, like to cry. To cry. The baby cries every time he's hungry. So, and another verb, like, for example, to play or to stay. To play. I play basketball on the weekends. So here we have two regular verbs as examples on which we are going to apply first our first part of the lesson, which is the regular verbs form, of course. So when I take the verb live, I shall I shall take, for example, the subject pronoun I, and here I take the subject pronoun he, and here I take, for example, the subject pronoun it, and here we take, for example, the subject pronoun they. Of course, they are just examples here. So as you can see, we have different types. We have I, he, it, and they. Of course, if you still remember, we have I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. Today, just examples to apply the verbs or to make the application on these verbs. So I take, for example, I take the verb to live. If I want to make it in the past, if I want to make it in the simple past, I say, I say, I lived, I lived. I live in Morocco. That's simple present, as I told you last time. I lived in Morocco means I talk about a period of time which is past. So the action is finished in the past. I lived in Morocco. And here we have listen. What do we say here? We say he listened. He listened. He listened. And then we go to the next verb, which is cry. It cried. It cried. So here we have the verb cry. So we say it cried. And then we have play. We say played. We have played, of course. We have played. I should not write. Okay, played. They played. As you can see in the arrange, this is here infinitive. This is what? This is infinitive, of course. This is infinitive. And this is what? This is past form of what? This is past form of regular verbs. This is past form of regular verbs, and we have four examples. The first example is to live. The second example is to listen. The third example is to cry, and the fourth example is to play. And why I have chosen these verbs? Just to make the application, because we have different types of verbs, and I took one verb from each category. So as you can see here, what is the difference between to live and I lived? Here we have subject pronoun because I put it in the past. And here we have to. So I take to. We don't have to here. And I take to here. And I add what? I add D. I add just D. So what is the rule here? The rule is subject, which is I, plus verb without to. Of course, I say bare verb here, plus what? Plus D. Why D? Because we have ed already here. So the first rule is subject plus verb plus D. And the second one here, subject, which is he, plus infinitive, the verb in the infinitive to listen, of course, without to, plus ed, plus ed. And then we have the next one here, it. It is a subject pronoun as well. Plus what? Plus verb, plus I IED. And if you still remember the first lesson of the present simple, we said when we have consonant plus y, here what do we have? We have y, we have consonant. When we have consonant plus y in a verb, what do? I omit y and I replace it with IE. In the present simple, IES. In the past simple, IED. And this is what we did here, subject plus verb plus IED. And then we go to the next one here. We have subject, of course. They is a subject. Plus what? Plus play, which is a verb, of course. It's a verb, right? I repeat. So, yeah, that's it. So this is D here in pink. Subject plus verb plus just ed. And why I put the verb cry and the verb play? As you can see here, we have consonant plus y, and here we have vowel plus y. And when we have vowel plus y, we don't need to replace it with ie, but we just keep ed. We just keep ed. So this is the first part of our lesson, how to form the regular verbs in the past simple. I repeat in order to, okay, so this is the simple past today. Today's lesson is the simple past. I said that in the simple past we have two categories. We have regular and we have irregular. So when I say regular, it's because it doesn't have a rule. And when I say regular, it's because it has a rule. So the first thing that we are going to start with is how to form the regular form. Is how to form the regular form of the verbs. And this is what we wrote here, regular verbs. And this is what? This is infinitive, of course, and this is past form. We see that we have four examples of verbs. Four examples of verbs. The first one starts with E, finishes with E, and the second one EN, which is just a consonant. And here we have consonant plus Y, and here we have vowel plus Y. And if you want to say, this is subject plus verb plus just D, subject plus ed, verb plus ed, and here we have subject plus verb plus ied, and here we have subject plus verb plus just ed, because we have just consonants plus y, and here we have consonants plus vowel, and consonants plus y and vowel plus y. So now we go to the second type, how to form the irregular verbs. How to form the irregular verbs, and I take the blue pen or the blue color. So irregular, irregular now, irregular verbs, of course, in the simple past. Irregular verbs, of course, in the simple past. Uh, when we talk about irregular here, what does it mean? It means that it doesn't have a rule. We don't have a rule, right? So there is no rule. And here we have what? We have a rule. Here we have a rule, but in the second one we don't have a rule, so they come arbitrary, and we cannot guess which of which can be the past form, and this is why we should learn them by heart. So I will just give you some examples of irregular verbs that we have in English, and we will see if we can get a rule or not. Let's take, for example, the verb. So here, as usual, I take the blue pen. Okay, so this is here what? Infinitive. And this is going to be the past form. This is going to be what? The past form. All right. So this is the infinitive. I take some verbs, just some verbs, because we have a very, very long list of verbs which we can learn just by practice or by revising them each time if you want to memorize them by heart. So the first verb is to go. To go. The second one, for example, let's take the verb to buy. And the third one, we have the verb, for example, to write. To write. And the fourth one, we take the verb to, for example, to swim, to swim, and the last verb I say, for example, I take the verb to drive, drive, to drive. So just here we have just some examples of irregular verbs. So when we talk about irregular verbs in English, of course, I'm talking just about today's lesson. I'm talking just about today's lesson. So we don't have irregular verbs in other tenses. We just have irregular verbs when we talk about the past simple. That's why I gave you these examples, and we will work on them. So this is infinitive and this is the past form. I take, for example, as usual, I take some subject pronouns. I take, for example, I take, for example, he, and I take she, and I take we, and I take, so this is a third, and this is a fourth, we take they, and they take, for example, here, you. So all these are just subject pronouns, of course. Okay, we will try to apply the rule now. If I want to say I go to school every day, this is present simple, as I told you before. This is the present simple. If you want to say if you want, for example, to talk about the verb go in the present simple, say I go to school. This is what? This is habit. This is something that you do very often. I go to school every day at 5. So this is habit. But if you want to make the verb go in the past simple, that's another story. It can't be go. It will be what? Went. We say, for example, went. He went. I go to school. You go to school. But we say he went to school. He went to school. Right. So he went. He went. And then we take the verb to buy. We take the verb to buy. We say, I buy a jacket. I buy a jacket every year. I buy a jacket every year. And then, now if you want to put it in the past simple, we say I bought a jacket, which will be like the following: Bought. He or she bought a jacket. So this is buy, bought. Buy is infinitive, bought is the simple past irregular form. And then we go to the verb right. The verb right in the infinitive is right. But if you want to make it past, we say we wrote. We wrote. We wrote. I write a letter. I write a letter. Okay, this is present simple like we have seen so far last time. But if you want to say that I write a letter in the past, we say I wrote a letter in the past. I wrote a letter last week, for example. So we say I wrote. So this I becomes O. And we cannot extract a rule from all these verbs because each one comes arbitrary, and we should just remember them by heart, of course, and by practice. Let's go to see the verb swim. Let's take the verb swim. I say they swim. They swim. It becomes they swam. They swam. So this I here becomes am. And then let's take the verb drive. It becomes what? Drove. It becomes drove. It becomes drove. So what do we have here? What do we have here? We cannot apply a rule. We cannot apply a rule. So they are just irregular verbs which should be remembered. Which should be remembered by heart. And of course, by practice, by speaking, by listening, and by reading, we can remember them easily and without doing too much effort. So here we are, regular and irregular verbs in the simple past. Regular verbs and irregular verbs in the past. So I go and check if we can find a rule here altogether. If we can find a rule here. So we have go and went. Go becomes went. And buy becomes bought. Write, wrote. Swim, swam. Drive, drove. So here we cannot make a rule. So as I told you, we don't have a rule. We don't have a rule for the irregular verbs. We just have to remember them, and we have a long list to learn and to revise. So here we are. I go back to check what we have done so far from the beginning, all together with you. All together with you. So today's lesson. So today's lesson is the simple past. Today we will see how to form the simple past and how to work with the simple past in all our English, of course, for students and for English speakers, people who want to speak English and who want to use English in their communication. So the past simple, when we talk about the past simple, as I told you, we have two categories. We have regular and we have irregular. The first one is regular and the second one is irregular. So when we talk about regular, because they have a rule, and irregular, they don't have a rule. They don't have a rule. And the first part that we are going to start with is the regular form. We have infinitive and we have past form. We have infinitive and we have past form, and we have uh, some examples here from which we extracted the rule: to live, to listen, to cry, to play. And here, I lived, he listened, it cried, they played, and that's it. Here we have either subject plus verb plus d, or ed, ied, or ed when we have just vowel plus consonant. Vowel plus consonant. So that's it for now. We go further to something else. Irregular verbs. We don't have a rule. Just some examples here to see that we cannot find a rule. We cannot find a relationship between all the verbs that we have done here. So that's why I say we should have a list to remember. A list to remember. So now the next step that we are going to proceed is the forms of the past simple. When we talk about forms of the past simple, we talk about positive, and we talk about negative, and we talk about question form. We will see how to form these three forms in English with the past simple verbs. So we go to the next slide, please. Now, let's take, for example, a sentence. Of course, if I want to make myself more clear, and we will just take a verb which is regular and a verb which is irregular to see both them in the three possible forms, which is possible, which is positive, negative, and question form. So here I write first. I write first here positive, negative, and question. Positive, okay, positive, negative, and question. Positive, negative, and question. So we are going to see how to form the past simple in all these three. I take two examples: positive, negative, question, positive, negative, question. This is here for this is for regular verbs, and this is for irregular verbs. Here we have are and here we have ir. So I take the first sentence. I write, for example, I, I, uh, I walked, I walked to school. I walked to school yesterday. I walked to school yesterday. Full stop. Of course, when we have positive. Yeah, I go back, please. We had, this is again simple past irregular form. We had just a small technical problem in the board. We go back to follow up and to proceed what we have started so far. So positive form, I walked to school yesterday. Past simple form, positive. Negative form, if I want to make it negative, what do I say here? I say, I say, I say, I, and we take didn't. I didn't or did not. Of course, I did not plus what? Plus walk. Plus walk. Again here, you can see here that we have ed, which is simple past. Here it is just infinitive because we have didn't or did not. So this didn't can be did not, full form, of course, and short form with apostrophe here. So didn't or did not walk. and we finish the sentence. And we finish the sentence. I did not walk to school. I did not walk to school yesterday. I did not walk to school yesterday. And we stop here. So the positive form, I walked to school, we have ed here because the verb is in the past simple and we're talking about yesterday. If you want to make it negative, we say I did not walk to school. Here it takes ed, but here it doesn't take ed because we have the verb do. This is the verb do. Again, this is the verb do. It's very important here. The verb, why we have this? Because the verb do is in the past form. The verb do is in the past form and it is irregular. So why we have did? What is did? Did is what is do, is in the simple past. This is infinitive and this is past simple, right? So did do. I didn't walk to school. In the present simple, say I don't, if you still remember. In the past simple, say I didn't walk to school. Now I go to the next sentence. What do we have here? It is very simple. We have inversion. We have inversion of what? Of the subject and of the auxiliary did. We have the inversion of the subject and the auxiliary did. So what do we say? Did, did, and we have subject which is normal, I. We have subject, I. Did, I. And of course, just infinitive here. As long as did is in the simple past, as I told you, we have do, did. So did I walk? And we finish the sentence as it is. Did, yes, to school yesterday. To school yesterday. And we finish with a question mark. Let me take the eraser, okay, to take this from the circle. Right. Yes. Okay, just give me 1 second, please. Of course, I repeat. I say I go to school yesterday. Yesterday. And of course, this is yesterday. I write it in a short, in a short, in a short handwriting in order to make the question form. So this is what? This is the positive, the negative, and the question form of what? Of regular verbs. All the regular verbs can work this way. Okay, so I take the verb I walk to school. The verb is in the simple past because I'm talking about yesterday. And this is what? This is a regular verb. If you want to make it negative, we say I didn't or I did not walk to school yesterday. Did is what? Is an auxiliary. What is did? Did is the verb do in the infinitive. It becomes did in the simple past. So I did not walk, and here we don't have ed because it is taken by do to school yesterday, and we finish by a period or full stop. So did I, here we have what? Inversion of the subject and the auxiliary. We say did I walk to school yesterday? Did I walk to school yesterday? So we go back now and see how to form. We go back now and to see how to form the positive, negative, and question form of a sentence with an irregular verb. With an irregular verb. So I take the verb, for example, sing. You know, sing. I take, for example, the subject pronoun he or Ahmed or whatsoever, if you like to say. He sang. He what? He sang. He sang in a party. He sang. He sang in a party. So we say he sang in a party. He sang in a party. Or yes, he sang in a party 2 hours ago or 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Of course, ago and yesterday, they are time phrases for the past simple, and we come back and see this again next time. So he sang in a party 2 days ago. So the verb sing, the verb sang here, the verb sang here, the verb sang, what is it? It is sing. and it is irregular form, I just want to remind you, this is irregular verb. This is an irregular verb. So I take this verb and put it in the negative form. We don't have too much changes here. I put he, and of course here we have didn't. The same thing here. We have just didn't. We don't have any changes. Okay, you say he didn't. He didn't. And plus what? Plus sang. No, sorry, plus infinitive. He didn't plus infinitive. Okay. He didn't sing. He didn't sing what? He didn't sing in a party. Right. He didn't sing in a party. Right. In a party too, etc. And we finish by the stop. He didn't sing in a party 2 days ago. And then we go to the question form and we say, what do we have in the question form exactly? We have the inversion. So I start by what here? I start by did. Inversion of the subject and the auxiliary. And the verb is, and the subject is he, did he, and the verb is simple. Did he sing? Of course, just infinitive. Did he sing in a party? Did he sing in a party? In a party today? Okay, of course, I finish the sentence and I put a question mark. I put a question mark. So this is the positive negative question form of regular and irregular verbs. What do we have here? What is the key word here? The key word is did not. Did not. Did not. Of course, the the key word here is did not. Positive form, negative form, question form. With negative form didn't, and with the question form we have inversion of the subject and the auxiliary, and this is it. So I go back to the first slide and see what we're doing. I go back I go back to the first I go back to the first slide and see what we're doing. So as I told you before, today we are working on the simple past. Today we are working on the simple past, and we have seen that we have two categories in the simple past. We have regular form and we have irregular form. So regular form, it has a rule. We can find a rule between all the verbs. But when we talk about irregular form, we don't have a rule. We don't have a rule, so that's why we have just a list of verbs to remember by practice. And then we move to see how to form the positive form and the negative form and the question form of a regular verb and an irregular verb. And we have seen that they don't have too much difference between forming the positive, negative, and question forms between them, because we just need the verb do in the past, which is did, plus not in the negative form. And for the interrogative form or the question form, we just have inversion between the subject and the auxiliary. So if we say I didn't walk to school, negative form and positive form. And for the question form, say, did I go to school? Did I go to school? And here I'm talking about the negative and question form. Now we shall start to something else. We shall start something else. Okay? We shall start something else. So we go to the fourth or to the fifth slide, and we work on how to use the past simple in a very efficient way. Of course, when we speak or when we write, we need to use times. We need to use tenses in our speaking or in our writing. That's why we should know exactly which of which to use. As I told you last time, for the present simple, I always go back to the present simple. We have habit, we have something which is always true, we have a scientific fact, but for the simple past, we will see how to use it. So the simple, past simple, use. The past simple what? Use. Here we have form, and here we can say we write use. Why do we have the past simple? So I ask always the question, why? Why do we have the past simple in English? Why we have a simple past in English? So I went. Okay, let's take a sentence here. I take, for example, a sentence here. I write, for example, she or he he visited he visited Marrakesh. He visited Marrakesh uh, 2 days ago. I repeat the sentence in a clear handwriting because I think I hurry, and we should not hurry when we deal about or when we deal with the interactive board. So he visited Paris, not Marrakesh. He visited Paris 5 years, 5 years ago. 5 years ago. Stop. So he visited Paris. He visited Paris. He visited Paris. Paris. He visited Paris 5 years ago. So in this sentence, it is very clear that I'm talking about a past moment. A past moment. So the verb visited is what is verb plus ed. What does it mean here? It means that it is formed in the past simple and it is regular form. And we have the expression ago, which shows that we're talking about a past time action, because what is a verb? A verb is an action. A verb is an action, and when we put it in a tense, it takes the time of the tense in the action. So he visited Paris 5 years ago. What does it mean? Well, it means that we use the past simple to talk about an action which an action which starts and or started and finished. Okay, started and finished in the past. In the past. I ate my lunch at 5 o'clock or at 12 o'clock, so the action of eating is over. So when we talk about the simple past, we talk about an action, an action which started and finished in a given time in the past, and it has no continuity to the present. So this is the past simple use. It is very simple. So why do we have the past simple in English? We have the past simple to talk about an action which started or which starts in general, which starts and finishes in the past. Started and finished in the past. Okay, so now the next step that we should go to is the time expressions. But before we do that, I want you to go back and see. So the past simple, we have two categories: regular, irregular. Regular, it has a rule. Irregular, it doesn't have a rule. And then for the first one, it is regular verbs. What is regular? It has a rule. Okay, so this is infinitive and this is past. We said that it's subject plus verb plus d, ed, ied, and ed. And then the irregular verbs, they don't have a rule. They don't have a rule. Of course, here we have three examples of positive, negative, and question form with regular and irregular. And then the past simple use. Why do we have the past simple use? We have the past simple use. We have the past simple to talk about an action which started or we start and finishes in the past, and that's it. So please, now the next thing that we should go to is time expressions. Of course, we say time expressions or we say signal words. Okay, time expression. Time expressions for the simple past. Time expressions of the past simple time expressions, signal words, time phrases of the past simple. Of the past simple. So I just want to make myself short and say, in English, whenever you hear ago, whenever you hear last, whenever you hear yesterday, whenever you hear this year, this week, this weekend, and whenever you hear in, for example, in the morning, in the afternoon, on, at, and talking about a past time, so we use the past simple. I give you an example. For example, with ago. For example, I here I ate a pizza 1 hour 1 hour ago. I ate a pizza 1 hour ago. I went to Agadir last summer. And here we have yesterday. I took a shower yesterday. And here we have this. I I studied a lot this week. And we have on I was born I was born on I was born on or in depends here. We have the A, so say in. I was born in 2001, for example. I was born in 2001. So here we have a go, last, yesterday, this, on, at. So these are time phrases. Whenever you hear a go, that's the past simple. Whenever last, yesterday, they are past simple. So I ate a pizza 1 hour ago. I went to Agadir last summer. I took a shower yesterday, and here we have I studied a lot this week, and here for on or in or at, say I was born in 2001. I was born in 2001. And now, if you don't, or if you like, we go and see some practice. We go and see some practice to see practice. We go to see practice, right? I hope my handwriting is clear. Anyway, okay, practice, practice. Yeah, that's it. Practice, and I shall take some examples for you, both from the irregular forms and from the regular forms. So, the first sentence that I'm going to write is, for example, here one. Okay, Lucy. Just an example. Lucy. Uh, Lucy. Her birthday. Birthday presents. Presents. So Lucy, her birthday presents. Okay. So and the verb is enjoy. The verb is enjoy that we're supposed to put here. Now let's take another verb. Let's take another verb. Another sentence. Sentence two. We the party very much. Okay, or my sister, just an example. My sister maths for an exam. Maths, mathematics, maths for an exam. For an exam. And the verb, of course, now I take the color. I take the color, okay, an exam. And I take the color, the green color as usual. Study, the verb is study. Study, of course, study. So, study for the exam. And then we go to the next one. Number three. Number three. Sarah. Number three. Sarah. Okay. And we have up early. Up early last night. And the verb is, of course, I always make mistake the pencil, T, right? T, so we say get up. Get up. We take another example. We take another example. The fourth one, they, okay, 50 euros in the street. In the street. And the verb is to find. As usual, I need to clean. And then, yeah, the green color. And we write to find here. Right. To find. So that's it. So this is just a little practice for the past simple verbs. This is just a little practice for the past simple verbs. Lucy, her birthday present, and the verb is to enjoy. My sister study maths for an exam, and Sarah up last night. And they, and they, and they, and we have the verb to find 50 euros in the street. So, Lucy, her birthday present. So what do we say here? The verb is enjoy. The verb is enjoyed. The verb is enjoyed. And we have the verb to study. My sister studied. Of course, here we have the case. Here we have the case of the regular form, verb plus IED, because we have consonants plus Y. And then we have get up. Sarah got up. This verb is irregular. This verb is irregular. Get up, got up early last night. And here we have they find. We say they found. They found. They found 50 euros in the street. So this is just a little practice for you to see how to form the present or the past simple verbs. We have four sentences here. Lucy enjoyed. This is regular. We have just verb plus ed. Lucy enjoyed her birthday present. And number two, my sister studied maths for an exam. And then Sarah got up last night. And then we have the fourth one, which is they found 50 euros in the street. 50 euros in the street. 50 euros in the street. So I think that we have seen more or less. I have seen more or less the past simple. We have seen so far the past simple verbs. The past simple verbs and how to form the past simple verbs. I hope they are clear for you, and I would like to thank you for your attention, and see you next time, and goodbye.